Yo guys, here's Torsten with in full effect. Merry Christmas. A little bit late, but either way, here's the review of the G20 from Asus, another small form factor gaming PC. You might wonder why I got myself another one of those PCs, because I just got the Zotac Magnus 1080, which is a super nice system, probably the best system I have ever owned. And well, either way, I couldn't resist the super sexy case that comes with the Asus. I got myself the highest specs available here in Japan. It comes with the i7, the GTX 1080, 32 gigs of memory, a 256 GB SSD drive, a normal 3 TB drive. I will be replacing the SSD drive with the 480 GB Patriot drive I bought for the Zotac, which is super fast. And so I will give you my review. I will also let you know how easy it was to open the case and exchange all those parts. And then I will, give you all the pros and cons and compare it also to the Zotac. In the background of my review, I'm going to be running some benchmarks of Doom, Battlefield 1, etc. And alright guys, I see you in the review. Alright guys, so the G20 is a powerhouse in a small, in my opinion, super sexy looking case. For the price, and this is something I will be doing from now going forward, I will give you the US and Canadian dollar price, the price in Europe you get in Germany, and the yen price. As a source, I will be using Amazon and CIX and some online retailers here in Japan. Looking up the prices for the other regions made me realize that there are differences in value depending in which country you live. This is something I will take into account in my future reviews when giving my recommendations. Obviously, I will consider the current exchange rate. While the price for the Zotac Magnus 1080 I showed you 3 weeks ago is rather expensive here in Japan, the G20 is similarly priced in all regions. Now let me go through the cons and pros of the G20. For the cons, some parts are difficult to access. If you want a system that lets you swap some parts easily, do not get the Asus. Accessing the M.2 slot or installing an additional SSD requires you to dig deep into the system, and I do not recommend this at all for people not experienced with doing some PC tinkering stuff. Also, if you want to open the case yourself, you have to void the warranty. This is annoying, but I cannot really blame Asus for doing this. I can easily imagine inexperienced users damaging the system when opening it. Next point, the bloatware. The system is good to go out of the box, but it comes with some additional software installed like McAfee and various Asus applications that I personally do not want on my PC. Also, I was surprised that the Asus Aegis application that lets you control the lighting of the system, for instance, crashed when running in the out-of-the-box installation. Fortunately, a fresh install of Windows solved this issue, and my general advice if you buy a system like this is do a fresh install if you want a slick running system without any unnecessary burden. Alright guys, this was it already for the cons. For me, that was it. And now let's get to the pros. Future-proof. Even though some parts are quite difficult to access, the system is completely upgradable. You can exchange the RAM, the drives, the CPU and the GPU. The GPU is a normal desktop version that you would put into your standard ATX case, which adds some value because if you upgrade, you can still sell the GTX 1080 on eBay, etc. Then the price. I think the G20 really offers great value. You get a complete high-end system in a super sexy and super small package. If you build the system yourself, you will only save around $300, and that does not give you a keyboard and mouse and will cost you a day unless you are a seasoned system builder. Customizable LED lighting. Whatever theme you are running on your desk, the G20 will fit into it with the adjustable RGB colors. Blazing fast. This is really a system without any compromises. The 1080 really chews through everything you can throw at it and spits out a super smooth gaming experience. This kind of performance in such a small case, wow. The system runs quiet. Even under heavy load, the system does not turn into a vacuum cleaner on your desk. During normal desktop operation, like surfing the web, etc., the fans sometimes kick in slightly, but unless you suffer from hardcore silence, OCD, this system is perfectly fine. By the way, the G20 does come with a conventional air cooling system, not a water cooling system like the Zotac Magnus 1080. I will give you a more detailed comparison of the two systems in a bit. Another thing I like is the Asus Republic of Gamer brand. The G20 is part of the ROG family, which is Asus Enthusiast Gamer series. Personally, I'm digging this gaming brand stuff, but obviously it is a lot of marketing voodoo. If you're not into branding stuff, just ignore this point. And now guys, I want to come to my comparison to the Zotac Magnus 1080. Let's start with the portability. If your absolute main focus is on portability, the Zotac is the clear winner. The case is definitely smaller and lighter than the G20. Having said this, the G20 is also very portable, and I cannot imagine too many scenarios in which you would need or even benefit from the Zotac's advantage in portability over the G20. Even putting the G20 into your hand luggage on a plane trip should be no problem, so yeah, this is that. Upgradability, future-proof. The G20 lets you basically upgrade everything, but there's a catch with the upgradability as you saw earlier. Reaching some of the parts is rather difficult and time-consuming. The Zotac is already a beastly PC, and I do not see any reason why you would want to upgrade the i7 CPU or the GTX 1080 anytime soon with either system. I guess this point in the comparison is a question of preference, and I think everyone has to judge that for himself. Value. If you live in the US, the Zotac and the G20 offer similar value. The Zotac Bear system is around $400 cheaper than the fully equipped G20. Adding the system memory and a decent SSD will roughly result in a similar price. For all other regions, the G20 is the better choice, as the Zotac is more expensive even in its barebone configuration than the G20 that comes with an SSD, a hard drive, RAM, the OS and a keyboard and mouse. Then we have the cooling system. Since the Zotac utilizes a water cooling system, it is much quieter. Normally I would have praised the G20's noise level even more, but after having used the Zotac for around 3 weeks, I have been amazed by the whisper quiet operation under even heavy load. Again, I would like to point out a catch though. As already mentioned by some viewers with my review of the Zotac system, a water cooling system in such a closed system poses the question of maintenance. I personally never had a water cooler longer than a year, as I keep updating my systems at a pretty frequent rate, but obviously even so-called maintenance-free systems are prone to some issues after, well, I do not really know. But what then? How much will Zotac charge you in case there is an issue with your 3-year-old water cooling system? The Zotac is an excellent candidate to be retired as a home theater PC after 5 years or so, once it does not run the latest games anymore in crazy high frame rates, so there is definitely some degree of concern. Performance. Here we have to give the clear win to the G20. Looking at the frame rate, I would estimate that we are getting around 7 to 10% more frames within games. This is most likely to the fact that the G20 uses a standard desktop version of the GTX 1080 and the Zotac the notebook version. However, since the Zotac's performance is no slouch and offers a very impressive performance, I am again wondering how much this difference really matters during the normal usage. Either system will run your games like a boss. Now, guys, coming to my final verdict. The Asus G20 is my personal new favorite PC. It is a complete beast in a damn sexy looking case, and I really can point out no real weaknesses. The little bloatware that comes pre-installed can be easily fixed with a fresh install, which does not take long at all. The system is also super quiet and can easily be transported if that is important for you. Compared to the Zotac, it loses in some areas like the noise level or the ultra small form factor, but then we are faced with the question if those advantages have any real life importance. For me as a gamer, the G20 is a dream come true. I just enjoy looking at the case and its aggressive design. It looks like coming straight out of the Battlestar Galactica set or maybe a Transformer movie without crossing the toyish looking line. If you live in the US, the choice between the G20 and the Zotac is a difficult one. With similar prices, you will have to decide for yourself which of the compared aspects is more important for you. Looking at the prices in Germany, Japan and Canada, the choice has to be the G20. It offers a far better value unless you absolutely need the super small size of the Zotac. Also, the keyboard and mouse that comes with the G20 can mean another $100 or so of savings if you do not own a gaming mouse and keyboard yet. So guys, this was my final review of the Asus G20. I hope it helps you with your decision. Systems like the G20 really make me excited about the PC gaming future. The power we are getting in small form factor PCs that look so sexy really are like a paradise for the gadget lover's heart. I cannot wait until the next generation of these small beasts. As a side note, if you wondered why I chose to include the Canadian price in the value comparison, well, this brings us very close to the announcement I have been teasing 1 or 2 times of a big change that will happen soon. I will make the announcement within the next few days, so please bear with me guys. If you like my video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I hopefully will see you in my next video. Cheers guys!